Hello, this is Adrian Gold. I want to thank you for being here. Today we're going to read about a little different story. It's called The Five Arrows. And the goal of this story was to identify the goal of the Rothschild at the time. Again, we're still in Europe and understanding their motivation and what led them and what led our entire world function through a system of central banks. The story is called The Five Arrows. It's the five arrows represent the five brothers. It's a five arrows, which is the emblem of the Rothschild. And I didn't know how to tell the story. I know I wanted to say one thing, that a man, a rider on his horse, rides through the Bavarian country, gets hit by lightning, killed instantly, his horse is killed instantly. The police at the time came, try to figure out who the hell this man is, open and discover some paper. And it was signed by the leader of the Illuminatis. And again, this is all in the story. In the paper, they realize it is a plan for the French Revolution. So they freak out, they try to arrest all the Illuminatis, known Illuminatis. They cannot catch the leader, they catch everyone else. Send a note. So this is a pretty real, pretty true story. They send information to the King of France, telling him, hey, listen, there's a master plan for this French Revolution. You should be aware and do something about it if you want to survive. Well, he ignores them, and we all know what happened. He lost his head, lost his kingdom, and so on. There was also, at the time, a real strong implementation of central bank in France, in the Netherlands, in Denmark, in all these little countries. That was probably put in place by the Rothschild. Especially in Denmark, they helped the king to survive. I think he had some issues. They protected his finance, and so as a payback, I think he granted them the charter for the creation of a central bank in Denmark. And so we go through this, and I didn't know how to get this information into a coherent story. So I created a meeting of the family in France, so they all meet, converge to a city or a castle next to Reims, France, so in the east, and they basically decide, hey, what's going on? Or are you doing with money? What shall we do better? What, basically like really good banker and good businessman. So that was the vehicle through which I was going to be able to relay the information. This woman who I created, again, is a paleographer, so her job is to transcribe document before they're trashed, and so they have a modern transcription of this document and a reference, and it's in modern English, and they can trash this 200-year-old document. And so she comes into the German intelligence service. She has basically a person with her to watch over her, and the two of them converse, and they talk about central bank and so on. This allowed me to share the information about banking and central banking especially through the information that she transcribed, who actually do not exist. This is all fiction. But she transcribed information that, lead her to believe, what's the deal with the Denmark Bank? And she realized, one, that the Rothschild were really into implementing a system of central banks all over Europe. And if you look, again, I don't want you to think I'm a conspiracy theorist. I don't care. People want to make money, hallelujah. Make money, that's your thing. But I think we should all be aware that, we're getting screwed. So a central bank works in this way, and I explain it in the story. 80% is owned by private entities, 20% is owned by the government. So there's a shareholder, and the central bank is a for-profit entity for the shareholders. 1. 2, the central bank has the control over the printing of money. Now, when it started, and again, there's something else that I didn't want to get into because I initially did. It's called fractional reserve banking. The banks were required to have a percentage of the money against the money they were printing, the currency. So a percentage, let's say, of gold against the quantity of printed banknote they were going to print. But they did have the control of printing the money. This is still happening, so that you know, I mean, this is not like insane. This is what's happening, which means our central bank currently prints money at the cost of the paper. There's no longer, and then you'll see in other stories, there's no longer that fractional part where if they print $1 million, they have to have 10%, 20% in gold to back it up. So if they print the money against nothing, and now that becomes money we owe that central bank or whoever owns our debt. But our debt is created out of thin air. And again, I don't want you to think I'm crazy. So basically, Frau Rosalie, our main character, is like, what? I didn't know that. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. And her handler from the German intelligence service just say, yeah, well, yeah, and he explained. And so I was able to convey the information this way. And this was the implementation of banking and the foundation through which they work. The last part that the central banks control is the interest rate. In 2023, as you know, this is a big thing because that's what makes all the credit we take on for houses and so on much more expensive, which means also that our debt is much more costly because of the interest. We have no control, no supervision, and no oversight of the central bank, so really, they really do what they want. So I think this story is really important because it just clarifies and it makes you understand this is not something that just popped up. And as we go through this entire book, you will see we're going to get rid of it, it's going to come back, and it's going to rear this ugly head really, really bad in 1913 with the Federal Reserve Act. But for this, I just wanted to find an easy way. I like the character, I like Rosalie, I like the interaction between Rosalie and her handler. I like the fact that I was able to tell the story without getting into conspiracy theory about the Illuminatis, but just focus on the bankers. And also how the bankers implemented a system of basically R&D, research and development. And so anyway, I hope you enjoyed that story. I really enjoyed writing it. I thought it was very clever for me to be able to find a vehicle to tell the story fairly quickly and fairly easily, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, please visit my website, adriangold.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much. This has been a real treat and a real privilege for me to share a little bit how this whole process went. I didn't share these ideas, and so it feels great to be able to explain a little bit of what I did, why, and so on. So hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for your time, and on to the next. Bye.